Saturday, we had a miner come into our staging area. He was probably in his mid-70s. If he weighed 110, 120 pounds, I'd be surprised. He relayed to us on 5-6 weeks ago, he was working in his pit, digging his gold out of the ground, and he heard his dog start barking and alert. Didn't concern him until the dog started to howl in pain. And when he looked out of the hole to see why his dog was howling in pain, he found a gun pointed at his head by T.K. Lloyd, a BLM law enforcement deputy. Now, I was stunned and shocked looking at the size of the individual. The gentleman, obviously, he scrapes his living out of the ground, comes into town, buys his supplies, and goes back and scrapes his living out of the ground. T.K. Lloyd apparently felt he was such a threat, being 2 times this gentleman's size, that he needed to point a gun at his head. What shocked me more is the 2 other miners sitting there listening to this didn't react to it. Their reaction was, this is the way of BLM. This is what we deal with in BLM all the time. And this is the way they conduct themselves. We have had story after story after story just like this. People being abused by BLM law enforcement going on in their claims without a judge's order, without a search warrant, and violating their constitutional rights. And we're in a situation where I'm trying to figure out where our sheriff is. I have written him in emails. I have made phone calls. I have asked him to simply put out a statement to BLM that he forbids BLM to go on to the geographic boundaries of the Sugar Pine mine until these miners are offered their due process as constitutionally protected. This would be over today. It would end. He refuses to do so. I am just absolutely confused. He finds it okay to go to the Rotary meeting and joke that sign up, we're going up to the Sugar Pine mine and have a paintball war. I'm bringing the hot dogs. Now I'm trying to figure out, when we talk about the protection of constitutional rights, and we have an elected representative of the people that is supposed to protect these constitutional rights, it's not happening.
Joseph Rice was in here last week saying that that you had made a comment that we're going to have a paintball fight up at the Sugar Pine mine.
I had about an hour-long conversation with Mr. Rice yesterday. It was a great conversation. He was upset at that. It was basically just it was a joke. You know, people thought it was funny. They laughed. He was upset. I apologized to him for the comment. It is what it is. You know, people can blow things up all they want. I absolutely respect what the Oath Keepers did, the stance they took up there at the Sugar Pine mine. I respect the stance on the miners and where they are, and I'm actually working with legal counsel now together to make sure that there's issues that we can address in the future when this kind of stuff comes down. The nice thing...
Right, because as it relates to, the charter does say certain things about what local authorities should be supportive of, and I'm assuming that your conversations with Wally are kind of along those lines.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. You know, it's a learning process for all of us. You know, for me, I'm still new. I'm still gearing up and still ramping up, and I'm learning more about what the BLM has done in the past and are doing now. And so I'm going to start addressing some of those issues. I guess just to put it plainly, I'm concerned. My job is to be the conservator of peace. That's my job, and that's the role I took in the Sugar Pine mine situation. I was on the phone daily with BLM. I was on the phone daily with the FBI. I was on the phone very often with Mr. Backus and Mr. Rice to assure the safety of everybody. And I think we were able to negotiate and speed up the process, because I think oftentimes you'll find that the BLM will be non-communicative. And I'm finding that out, and now in my new role in dealing with them. So again, myself and Mr. Hicks, the legal counsel, are going to start addressing some of these non-communicative issues. I know he worked very hard to get them to respond to him on several things, and I want to partner with him to make sure that these type of things don't happen again.
Right. Any chance in the future you might take a more openly supportive role of the due process rights of citizens of the county, as opposed to, I mean, this time it was sort of like you were staying back and watching what happens behind the scenes, but maybe more open?
What's interesting about that is that I didn't stay back and watch. I was an active participant in making sure that their rights to due process were served.
That may have been the case, but that wasn't openly apparent to people, and maybe making that process a little bit more transparent.
Are you asking me to be a better politician?
No, what I'm saying is that perhaps if you are that active behind the scenes in the future, maybe you will make that more visible to people that you are, because it seemed like you were sort of missing in action.
Well, if the people want me to stand up and say I'm solving this, I'm solving this, I'm solving this, I can do that. But I'm going to do my job. I understand that people are going to want maybe more of this and more of that, but I'm going to do the right thing at the end of the day, hopefully every time, and that's my focus. I come from the belief or the foundation that I need to make the right decisions. The right decisions are often the hard decisions, not the political ones. The politics of this job is the one thing that I don't like. I'm not going to pander to people. I'm not going to respond to silly comments and things like that. It's a serious business. If another situation like that arises, I can handle it. I can handle it differently. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. The way I handled it personally, and from the standpoint of the office and being a conservator of the peace, in my opinion, it was spot on. I don't want. If I take sides per se, I have beliefs, mind you, but if I take sides in a situation like that where it's my job to negotiate a medium and to also make sure that the rights of the miners is upheld, then that's what I got to do. If I all of a sudden side with the BLM, all the miners are going to be upset, and I'm not going to be any good in my job, in my role, which is to negotiate resolve, and which is exactly what happened. They got their due process, and I think they got it faster than they would have if miners stood by themselves. So I applaud the Oath Keepers for stepping up and taking a stance. I think they. I don't know that it had to be that big of an operation, but nonetheless, who am I to say? I'm not an expert in dealing with the BLM yet. Maybe they know something I don't know, but I think there will be future situations. Maybe I'll handle it a little bit differently. I may seem like that I'm just in the background or whatnot, but I'm doing my job.